Okay, last week we broke down the recent news about the Jeffrey Epstein flight logs, and in fact, that Democratic lawmakers are, for whatever reason, working to protect that list from ever seeing the light of day. Now, I spoke with a pair of experts who will both rejoin me momentarily, and one major point was brought up during that conversation.
JPMorgan Chase just agreed to pay $365 million to avoid going to trial. Here's the kicker. JPMorgan Chase has admitted to the Treasury Department that they did facilitate over $1 billion in human trafficking transfers. And guess what? You can't just transfer money to no one, and you can't receive money from no one. So JPMorgan Chase knows the clients. They know who transferred $1 billion to Jeffrey Epstein. Well, they can tell us who they are.
You don't say. So we dug a little bit deeper into the bank connection with Epstein, and the money they agreed to pay is actually eye-opening. As Seamus noted, JPMorgan Chase facilitated more than $1 billion in money transfers connected to Epstein's trafficking. Wouldn't that mean that they essentially have the list? Author and Government Accountability Institute, Seamus Bruner himself, and the author of Vicky Ward Investigates, newsletter on Substack. Vicky Ward both rejoin me now for round two. Now, Seamus, your comments on Friday got me thinking. Today, we brought the receipts.
Yeah, that's right. And it's important, Carl, because there are all of these names of Jeffrey Epstein associates about to be unsealed. The important thing to note is not all those people are going to be perpetrators. A lot of the John Does on that list are either victims or they're just associates. They didn't necessarily engage in any sort of, despicable behavior. But the thing about the JPMorgan bank transfers is JPMorgan said that those transfers, $1 billion worth of transfers, was directly related to the trafficking. So those people are all guilty, ostensibly. And same thing with the flight logs, by the way. The flight logs are circumstantial. Just because you flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane doesn't mean you raped children. Right. But if you transferred money to Epstein for human trafficking, that sounds like you're pretty guilty.
Yeah, well, Vicky, Congressman Tim Burchett was on our network the other day, and this is what he had to say.
Too many of my colleagues, I'm afraid, are compromised in this area for whatever reason. Somebody's whispered in their ear, said, hey, you don't want something to come out on something else, you better keep your mouth shut on this. And that's exactly what they've done.
Well, I mean, just yesterday, a judge ruled to unseal some of the revealing documents that would name nearly 200 people linked to this. Now, we're expecting to see this in 2024. Who are some of those names do you think we're going to be seeing?
So some of them, I think, we're already familiar with, because Virginia Roberts came out and named quite a lot of names back in 2014, 15, and 16. And some of them are dead. So there was Senator George Mitchell, who has passed on, Governor Bill Richardson, who has also died, Jean-Luc Brunel, the French model agency owner, has also died, was killed, died in his jail cell in Paris. Virginia Roberts also memorably accused Prince Andrew. And as we know, they settled a civil lawsuit a year ago.
Big name.
She also accused, she got into litigation with the Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz. But then, they both dropped lawsuits against each other, and she said she might have been mistaken about Alan Dershowitz. So, but I mean, Virginia Roberts is really important.
Well, before we go there, I want to get back to Seamus on this. Seamus, it just seems like the cover-up is greater than the crime. And look, I don't want to say that all these people are going around killing themselves, but it certainly raises some eyebrows.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is possibly the biggest scandal in modern history. I mean, you're talking about the biggest names in the world, past presidents and royal families. So, of course, I mean, you think that, people dying left and right, that is totally suspicious. But the key here is following the money. And so this is why I go back to JPMorgan Chase. If they facilitated $1 billion is a lot of trafficking. I mean, no matter how you cut it, that is a ton of money. And this executive, James Staley, Jess Staley at JPMorgan, he's the one who introduced JPMorgan and Epstein to Bill Gates.
Yeah.
James Staley was alleged to have, emails showing very crazy stuff going on, Disney character names.
It's going to be
horrific stuff.
Yeah, when it comes out, it's going to be massive. Vicky, real quick, I wanted to elaborate on something you pointed out in your newsletter. It said, quote, in this last decade, Epstein flaunted what he was doing in public, and that cover was remarkably effective. I mean, he hid it in plain sight.
Correct. And, I think, I wrote in my newsletter that, when I ran into him and he was standing with these tall, very young, beautiful women, I didn't know where they were from. It was beyond imagination that he might be abusing them, having already been in jail for a year for sex crimes. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, well, it really is. And like I said, we don't know any of the names yet here at Newsmax, but we will bring them to you when they come out. Seamus Bruner, Vicky Ward, appreciate you both digging into this.
Thank you.
All right.